Hi guys, I'm Ellie. Today I'll be sharing with you how to make delicious iced filter coffee. With that being said, your iced filter coffee will not taste watery and diluted. It should be as delicious as it is when you taste as a hot filter. So let me share with you from step A to Z how we're gonna do it. Alright, and the first step to make a delicious iced filter coffee will be picking a right coffee. And what do I mean by the right coffee? To get the right coffee for an iced filter, I always suggest to go for a coffee that has a heavier body. So there are a couple of ways for you to find out what's the body of the coffee itself. First, the easiest way out, ask the barista, or ask the roastery that you're going to purchase your coffee from. Secondly, you can always look at the tasting notes that usually reflects of heavier fruits like your strawberries, your berries, your grapes, and even like the nutty, chocolatey ones. They are a hint of or a clue to tell you that how heavy or how light the body of this coffee is. Another one that you can consider a look at would be at the processing method, usually natural and natural anaerobic, and sometimes honey does helps to give a heavier body to the coffee itself. So these are the few ways that you can actually use to find out if the coffee is the right one for your ice filter. So today I brought you a coffee that we have got from a friend from Indonesia. They are from Instinct Roastery, located in Indonesia, Jakarta. So we had this, or rather I had this coffee when we were at the Indonesia Coffee Festival. Super delicious. Bought a bag right away. But I mean, this was given by our friend, so we really like it. It's a natural processed coffee from Bolivia, from a farm, Waliki farm. It has notes of pineapple, red berries, tropical fruits, and a chocolate. So for me, I would like a very fruit-forward, juicy, and sometimes I would say a very flavorful cup of ice filter. I want to be able to taste the different notes that I can get even if it's an ice filter. So with that obsession of making my ice filter tasty, I came up with this recipe that I'll share with you. Okay, and coming to our second point would be the choice of your equipment. I always like to go for immersion because the immersion brewing method helps to bring out more body, which I think it's very crucial when it comes to brewing ice filter. So I have two options right in front of me right now. I'm lazy, so I like to use Hario switch because it's easier to clean. I always pair my Hario switch with the Sibari's filter paper. The other option that I would like to use is AeroPress and with 3 filter paper. So now let's get into how to brew the ice filter. And today I'll be using the Hario switch. So I like to use the Sibari's filter paper because it's fast. Reason being, I don't want my coffee to choke. It's more porous, so you won't face a problem whereby water gets choked in your coffee bed and it ends up taking a very long time for you to complete your entire brew. I will always pre-wet my filter paper. So one thing is because it helps to stay in shape and I will not have any problem whereby it gets channeling and etc. So I will always make sure that it's closed because I want to use it as an immersion instead of percolation. So just have to push this up, just be careful. To get about a cup that has about 180 ml to 200 ml of coffee, I would recommend to use at least 22 grams of coffee. Smells good, right? So to ensure that I can get a very high TDS, in layman terms, I would say that a very concentrated brew so that if we add in ice and water later on, the coffee will not taste diluted. I'm going to use a much finer grind size. Okay, this is the grind size that I'm looking at for my ice filter. So because I'm only going to use up to 2 minutes and 30 seconds of the total immersion, before you start your brewing, make sure you have a spoon or a wooden paddle like this one. This will help you to stir your grinds later on. Okay, once you're ready, lift it up lightly and give it a light tap to ensure that it's even. So unlike the usual ice filter recipe, I will not add in any ice cube yet. So because Hario switch is made of glass and it's a lot thicker than the usual glass dripper that you have, I'm going to use a much higher temperature. For today, I'll be using 92 degrees Celsius, even though this is a natural processed coffee. I'll be using a 1:10 ratio. So after you finish your brew, your water, I'll be stirring. I like a systematic approach when it comes to brewing. So I will also measure the amount of ice cube that I will add in. So I understand that different ice machine and different fridge, the weight of the ice cube is different. Here's what I suggest. You can add in between 80 grams of ice cube to 100 grams of ice cube. Okay, so I add in approximately about 7 ice cube. It's about 83 grams. So at this temperature, when your coffee is still hot, it's actually good for you to give it a good stir. So I'm not sure if anyone have experienced before, if you go to an ice cream store, tasting an ice cream when it's frozen and when it's melted, it tastes completely different. It's a lot more sweeter when it's melted in the liquid form. So it's the same thing for coffee, or rather, it's the same thing for everyone. When something is too cold or too hot, it's hard for you to pick up the flavors. So now this coffee, after you add ice cube, is actually very cold. It's going to be hard for you to pick up the flavor of the coffee itself. So what I suggest is, you can then now bypass with room temperature water to help to bring up the temperature of the beverage itself. So with these, it will still taste delicious as an ice filter, and at the same time, you can actually pick up the different flavor notes of the coffee itself without making your coffee too watery. Earlier on, the amount of ice cube that we add is 83. So I want to round it up to 100 grams, so I'm going to add in 17 grams of water. Okay. So by this, I would say is a bonus tip, is what actually makes all our ice filter at home ground delicious. Even though you don't see any ice cube in right now, but the coffee is actually cold and ready to drink. So here you go. Here's your cup of delicious ice filter Bolivia. Okay, to be honest, I don't really remember what was on the back just now, but I do get very nice chocolate liquor kind of notes. At the same time, there's a lot of tropical fruits like pineapple. More importantly, it's also very refreshing, especially in a hot weather right now in Singapore. And the best part is, even though we did a bypass with ice cube and room temperature water, you still get this very lingering, nice Ferrero Rocher, I would say, like chocolate and like hazelnut kind of like lingering aftertaste. Let us know if you would like us to do the AeroPress version. We'll be very happy to share. Ice filter doesn't have to taste watery. It can be as delicious as your hot filter.